today's class. We are going to learn a geography subject. Okay, in the previous class we have learned about global warming and greenhouse effect. In this class we are going to learn about weather and climate. Okay, before getting into the topic, let us know what is weather and what is climate. Okay, now when we look outside, at present we are having very hot, okay, and when it comes night and the hotness will be reducing slowly and we will feel little cool, warm means cool. Okay, so now this changes within a day or within an hour or within very short period of time. Okay, so for saying there will be weather and climate will be almost same, but it is not same, it is different. Okay, what is weather? Weather is the condition of atmosphere in a place for a short period of time. Okay, what is weather? It is the atmospheric changes. Okay, change of a place for a short period of time. For example, we may feel hot. At the same time, the place which is nearby our locality will be cool and there may be raining. So the weather that changes, okay, within a very short period of time. Okay, if it is there, what we call it as? We call it as weather. And climate. Climate also it's a atmospheric change. Okay, it is atmospheric pressure on a particular place for a large area for long period of time. Okay, climate. For example, in a particular area, the weather if lasts long, it can be more than 25 years, 20 years. Okay, in that case, what we call it as, it is climate. So, climate means the weather that prevails in a particular region for a long period of time. We call it as climate. Okay, it is the atmospheric change of a large area for the long period of time, whereas weather is the atmospheric change that occurs in a small area for the short period of time. So this is the difference between the weather and the climate. And when we see the earth, we have learned about the different geographical locations on the earth. Okay, now the climate is the average of the atmospheric condition of a large area such as a country. For example, we can say China experiences Mediterranean climate. Okay, Tibet it experiences continental climate because it is far away from the earth. Now, certain region from the hazards that comes from the particular region also it affects the earth. Okay, now we will see what are the different types of climate. For example, when we take India experiences tropical monsoon climate. Okay, what is tropical monsoon climate? Tropical climate means always it will be hot, it covers the large area. The hot will be in a large area and the areas which expects the monsoon rainfall. That is the situation in the tropical means monsoon rainfall. Okay, tropical monsoon rainfall. And when we see in some other countries the climate will be very dry and warm climate during daytime and at night it will be cool. Okay, countries like China and all, it experiences like that kind of climate because it is very close to the polar region. Okay. And we will see there are different elements which affect the weather and climate. What are the different elements that affect the weather and climate? certain elements that affect the climate of a place and the weather condition are temperature, pressure, humidity, precipitation, wind direction, speed, cloud cover and sunshine. Okay, wind direction, okay, wind direction, then speed, cloud cover and sunshine. These are some of the elements that affect the climate of a place and the weather condition. Now we will see what are the factors that affect the climate, or what are the important elements that affect the weather and the climate of a place. Okay. The first element that affects the climate of a place is temperature. Okay. When we take the earth, we know that the earth is spherical in shape. Okay. So, since it is spherical in shape, the earth cannot receive equal amount of sunlight in all the areas. Okay. When the sun rays falls on the earth, see the equator, the largest latitude that divides the earth into equal two halves, that is northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Okay, so the longest latitude is measured as 0 degree. Okay, and in every latitude there will be different degrees. The numbers are given in degrees. So the areas in the latitude or the longest latitude, the region where it is located, it receives the direct rays of the sun. Here the fall of the sun, the rays of the sun, it falls in vertical position in 90-degree angle. Okay, so since it falls on the vertical position, what happens? The region which are located in the latitudes, in the 0 degree latitude, receives highest temperature. Okay, and it experiences hot climate comparatively, comparing with the other regions of the world. Okay, and other regions, when we go the further away from the equator, the rays of the sun, it falls in a slanting position, so that the temperature decreases and the places will be experiencing cool and the warm climate. When it goes away from the equator towards the pole regions, it receives very less slanting rays of the sun, not even sometimes receiving the sunlight. So the areas will be very frozen. So what happens? This temperature also makes the earth, it determines the climate. Okay, the regions which is very close to the equator, it experiences hot climate. Okay, so the climate, it prevails over the years. Okay, so we can consider that these areas in the equatorial region will be experiencing the hot climate. And the next thing is latitude. The next element of the weather or the climate is latitude. Now, what is latitude? Already we have learned it is the lines that divides the earth. Okay, the biggest latitude is called equator. Now, what happens here? The areas which receive the sunlight towards the region in the equators, okay, the temperature also will be more. And what is temperature actually? Temperature refers to the degree of the hotness, okay, hot and coolness of the air. Okay, what is temperature? Temperature refers to the hotness and coolness of the air, and this temperature is measured with the instrument called thermometer. Okay, which instrument is used to measure the temperature? It is thermometer. And when we see, there are certain elements are there. Already I told you it is temperature, humidity, pressure, atmospheric pressure. Okay, then sunshine and cloud cover and slope of the region, slope and aspect. Okay, that also affect the climate. And the third thing, so towards the latitude, the region will be very hot, and away from the equator, the regions experiencing cool and pleasant climate. Towards the pole, the regions experiencing extreme climates, because during winter time it will be too cold in this region. And the third element is altitude. Okay, what is altitude? It is height above the sea level. What is altitude? Altitude is height above the sea level. Now, how we can measure this altitude? We have learned that when the altitude increases, the temperature decreases. Okay, when the altitude increases, the temperature decreases. For example, I told the equatorial region receives highest hot. Okay, it receives the hottest climate. Okay, but the region it is away from the equator. When the region it goes, when the altitude increases from the equator, the temperature decreases. Okay, so this is another thing. Okay, which maintains the climate, which affect the climate of a region. We have to consider that how much height of the place, or what is the elevation of the particular region from the sea level. If the elevation increases, the hotness will decreases and the region experiencing pleasant climate. And the next factor is distance from the sea level. Okay, what's the next factor? This distance from the sea level. And how this distance from the sea level affect the climate? For example, some regions will be away from the coastal region and some places will be very close to the coastal region. For example, Sri Lanka, Japan and all, it is very close to the coastal region. And the places like Tibet and other regions, okay, it is away from the coastal region. So there are two types of climate when we say distance from the sea level. Okay, what is the two types of climate? One is maritime climate. Okay, and the other one is continental climate. So when we take the land will be hot during daytime and cool during night time. So to make the hot day in a particular region, how the climate will be solved? When the land is hot, it will be adjusted with the cool wind that comes from the sea. Okay, that makes the land cool. Okay, if the land is warm, what happens? The cool wind from the sea that comes towards the land and makes the land cool. Okay, and if the land is cool, what happens? The hot sun from the hot wind from the ocean, from the sea, it blows towards the earth and make the earth warm. In that way, the climate will be adjusted. For example, in maritime climate, what will happen in maritime climate? During daytime it will be hot and night it will be cool. In continental climate, since there is no chance for getting the sea wind, since the region is away from the coastal region, this region receives the hot and dry climate. For example, Tibet and all, it experiences hot and dry climate. During daytime and night it will be cool. Why? Because it is away from the coastal region. And the next thing is ocean currents. Now, what is ocean currents? Ocean current is a stream of water in an ocean constantly flow in a single direction. Okay, what is ocean current? Ocean current is the stream of water in the ocean constantly flow in a single direction. When we take ocean currents, there are two types of ocean currents. One is warm water ocean current and cool ocean current. Okay, one is warm water ocean current and other one is cool ocean current. For example, we have already learned that the latitudes, okay, towards the 0° latitude, the sunlight will be in vertical. Okay, so the regions in the equator region will be having warm water current. Okay, in the latitude. When the latitude increases, the water will be very hot. Okay, when the latitude increases, what happens? The region will be experiencing very hot. Now what happened? It is the flow of water from the lower latitude towards the higher latitude. Okay, when the warm water that flows from the lower latitudes to the higher latitude, what happened? In higher latitude, the climate will be cool and this warm water will be mixed with the cool water current. Okay, there will be pleasant situation. Now, in cool ocean current, what happens? From the higher latitude, it flows towards the lower latitudes. Okay, that makes the water with a pleasant climate. So, in this way, now how it affects the climate? So, if the water is warm, it will be mixing with the cool water current and there will be pleasant climate. So, the wind that blows from this ocean, okay, towards the land will be making the land adjustable during the situation. Now, we will see the next one is wind direction. Okay. How this wind direction affect the climate? For example, wind take on the characteristics of the region from where it blows. Okay, if the wind that blows from the hot region, okay, the wind will be very hot, and if the wind that blows from the cool region, there will be cool wind. For example, in India we are having a hot wind called Lu. Okay, it blows from the northwest region. In the northwest region we are having desert. Okay, Thor desert we are having. So, from this region there is a hot wind that blows towards the eastern part. that makes the eastern part cool, means to have the pleasant climate during winter season. Okay, and this wind, the wind blows part of the Great Plains in India. Okay, so the plain region will be having pleasant climate because of the wind flow. So the wind direction also it affect the climate of a region. In which direction or from which region it blows, that is considerable for the climate changes. And the next thing is cloud cover. Now, what is the use of this cloud cover? For example, we are receiving the radiated sunlight from towards the earth. So, what happens? The cloud cover region will be receiving the pleasant climate. The sun rays will be trapped by the clouds. Okay. So, what happens here? Two types of changes that occurs on the earth. The first thing is the radiated sunlight that falls on the earth, and another thing that happens is the terrestrial radiation that leaves away from the earth to make the earth with pleasant climate. And when we see here, when the cloud is there during daytime, there will be too hot. Okay, but if it is clouds, what happens? The sun rays will be trapped with this cloud and there will be little sunlight will be experiencing. Okay, and the climate will be pleasant. So in that way, the cloud cover region will be protected from the direct rays of the sun, and it is very useful. The cloud cover also determines the weather. And the next thing is slope and aspect. Okay, now what is slope? We know that when we take the mountain region, when the elevation increases, the slopeness will be also increasing. Okay, in the region where is a steep slope, we cannot determine, we cannot do any cultivation. Even that region where the steep slope is there, it is not suitable for human habitation. Okay, whereas the region where it has the gentle slope, it is possible for settlement and different other things. Even we can do different types of cultivation. Now, what is aspect? Aspect refers to the direction of the north, means direction of the slope. Okay, what is aspect? Aspect refers to the direction of a slope. For example, when we take the earth, okay, the latitudes divides the earth into two equal arcs. Okay, in the northern hemisphere, what happens? The regions it faces towards the south. Okay, and from the southern hemisphere, the regions it faces towards the north. Okay, so in which direction it faces? For example, the region from the northern hemisphere it faces towards the south. So this region is experiencing hot climate. Okay, because it is coming very close to the latitudes. Okay, and in the southern hemisphere, the climate will be opposite to that northern hemisphere, because here this from the southern hemisphere that place the region that faces towards the northern hemisphere. So in that way we can calculate, or these are the factors that affect the climate of a place. Children, today we have learned about what is weather, what is climate, what are the elements of weather and climate, and also we have seen different factors that affect the climate of a place, or we can say different elements that affects the climate of a place. What are the different elements? That is temperature, latitude, altitude, wind direction, distance from the sea, then cloud cover, slope and aspect. These are the different factors that affect the climate. Tomorrow we will see another continuation of this lesson, okay, about the pressure. Okay, we have learned different elements. The first element is temperature and the second element is atmospheric pressure. Okay, in the next class we will learn about atmospheric pressure. Okay, so you can read this lesson and make as many as questions, okay, for your worksheet, and prepare the portion well from the beginning. That will help you to write the test well in the future. Okay, we'll meet again in the next class. Thank you, children.